So I've got a brand new utility iron to test and review for you today in this video, and it's the Callaway Apex UT, a newer version to the UT that we've seen previously, new technology we're going to talk a little bit about, and I'm going to put it up against one of its rivals, the new Titleist T250U, both two irons, and we'll pop them up against each other later in this video as well, so stay tuned. Okay, so a new addition in this utility range from Callaway, the Apex UT. We've got 4 different loft options available in this head. We've got an 18, 20, 22 and 24. So depending what you're trying to do in your golf bag, it might be a sort of 4-iron replacement, might be 3-iron, and maybe for me personally, I'd always have this in a 2-iron for an off the tee option, a little bit lower ball flight, tighter hold potentially, and getting that ball in the fairway on those maybe demanding tee shots where I need it. First impressions when we look at the back, it's quite a nice clean look here now. We see the Apex logo in there, we've got this brushed satin finish to it. 2 screws on the back which has this sort of plate here which looks like it's been screwed on. Bit of different technology here now from Callaway is they've got like a flex core is what they are calling it. So the sole of the club now is separated from the face of the golf club with this black section. So you'll notice on the sole we've got a little black section. This is like a rubber material, and that all laps underneath this separate back piece there, and you can see then it comes back out in the back of the head as well. So creating a little bit more of a flex of the face for good or higher ball speeds, especially on off centre is what Callaway are saying. So into that playing position, and it's a really nice shape. It's probably a thickish top line there, as we expect to see from these hollow construction utility irons. A little bit of offset, but a very nice sort of shaping. It's not huge. There is other utility irons out there which are much more bulked up. I see just about the back of the head, at the back of that top edge, the sole there, but not a lot that's going to really draw my eye away from the club. Oh, that's crunched. A little baby draw. That's a really nice feel off the club face there. It wasn't too loud. Sometimes with hollow constructions you see a very loud explosive sort of noise there, but that's 227 carry, run out 250, 27 spin, 13 launch. That's nice. Really sort of numbers I would expect to see from a utility iron. So very much a multi-material design here with that that rubber substance in there, the back section being separated from the face, but all of that is in a forged head package. So we're getting that forged feel. I agree with that. It does feel feels quite soft off the face, doesn't feel too harsh. And I think with that rubber section at the back there, I think that's just going to dampen a little bit of sound as well and provide or enhance that little bit of softer feel to it. Ooh, it's a little bit off the bottom in the strike, touch up the left, but just about hanging onto the fairway, and spin just goes up a fraction that low strike, but not bad carry still from that slight low in the face contact, 222. So maybe a bit of that flexing edge, keeping that ball speed up. Yeah, and that's a nice flat flight. That's the flight that I sort of like to sort of see with this. So maybe if you play at that windy golf course, you want to see that flatter flight, then something like this would obviously be a great option. Yes, there's other utilities which you see with a lot bigger sole. So maybe if Titleist, the U505 for instance, very sort of fat sole there, you know, very much a little bit more of a higher ball flight, a lot more forgiving, but then they do have the other option for the slightly lower ball flight. And that's what I'm going to put up against this just later in this video. I've got the T250U, so the slimmer one, very much the same sort of head size shape to this Apex UT, so be an interesting little comparison. It's a very nice flight, that. Doesn't look to be climbing too much at all. So its spin is quite on the lower side maybe there. Again, 227, but getting a good run out. So we have also got the AI face, which we've seen in other products from Callaway over the recent years, helping to create a little bit more consistency across the club face, both ball speed and spin. And like I say, we've got this forged body with this dampening help with this flex core. It does feel quite hot off the face there actually. It's 230 carry, a little bit more ball speed. 249. Right, let's hit some with the Titleist and see how it compares to the new Apex UT. So just before I hit some shots, let's have a look at a little bit comparison between the two heads. So if we look at the sole first, sole looks pretty much identical in terms of the depth of the sole with these two irons. Now obviously the Titleist is a little bit cleaner, haven't got that rubber cert in the bottom of the club coming out in the back. Very clean look, no filled in badge here now. Beautiful look in my opinion. A great looking golf club there. Again, we've got this forged body with the Titleist, and then into that playing position down by the golf ball we're probably going to see a very similar blade length, and I would probably agree with that. Maybe the Apex a little bit larger in terms of that blade length, probably the Titleist a little bit more compact. As we said before, they've also got the other option of the U505, which is a longer blade length and just chunkier and a little bit more probably confident inspiring down by that golf ball. Top edge with the Titleist is definitely more rounded and a little bit neater. Okay, it's a little bit blocky and a bit squarer with the Apex. So if you prefer that a little bit of a thinner top line, a little bit more compact look, then this T250 from Titleist is going to probably just tick your box in terms of looks. That's a nice ball flight. Little bit higher on that particular one, I would say. Felt a touch low, maybe spin go up. Yeah, that spin just, I think that's just made it climb a tiny bit there with the Titleist. But again, 220 carry is not bad, just not going to get as much run out because of the little climb and stall in the air. A little bit low in the face. Oh, that's a good strike. Just tweaked up the left a little bit. Much better strike. More ball speed, a little bit lower spin. Great carry there, 236. Maybe just run out a little bit longer because up that left a little bit, but 254. Run out, nice numbers. And I think, to be honest, if you kind of compare the feel between those two, quite similar, I would say. I wouldn't say either of those are too loud. They're all a little bit more on that muted sort of sound. I know Titleist have done some work with sound. It's still hollow, so sometimes still get that clicky noise to it, which we're always obviously going to get. But they've done some work with just sort of dampening the sound a little bit. But very similar sort of feel off the face, I would say. Just definitely a more compact look down by the ball. That's a nice strike. I think maybe that just, to me, visually looks like it flies a fraction higher. I know that was a little bit more out to the right, so that spin's gone up a tiny bit there. Better strike, better flight, a bit more penetrating, 11 degrees. Still a little bit higher on that spin. So I think looking at that straight away, the shafts are very, very similar. The grip's exactly the same, length's exactly the same, flex is the same. We're just getting a little bit more, maybe of a lower spin number with the Callaway against the Titleist. And we all know the strike will change the spin number a little bit. That's nice and straight. I like the flight of that, I must admit. I know that spin's going to be high, and it is a little bit high. I can tell by the flight, it's just hanging in the air a little bit longer than what we saw with the Callaway. So that is obviously what's going to drop off. Not so much the carry distance, so to speak, but more of the run out of that golf ball. See, that's 225 carried, running out 10 yards, where the others are getting edging up at 250 on a similar sort of carry number, just because the land angle's going to be different. Okay. There's a few shots hit with the new Apex UT. So I think if you want a nice feeling golf club that isn't too slimmed down by that golf ball, then the Apex is definitely worth a go. It feels very nice. The spin's a little bit lower, I find, against that T250. So if you want to keep that flight down, a little bit more penetrating, it's a really good option to have a little look at. Post comments down below, let me know your thoughts, and hopefully catch up with you all very soon.